and welcome to Chatbox with Sam. Today's guest is actress Gloria Garayua. Hello, Gloria. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm very honoured that you're starting with season 2 on Chatbox with Sam. We're very honoured for you to be on our show. So thank you so
Oh,
much
thank
for your
you.
time. And
Of course, thanks for thinking of me.
oh, you're welcome. Well, we have to say thank you to the people that referred you, Danny Arurio.
My friend Danny.
He's
Thanks,
your.
Danny.
So,
Okay.
Gloria, I have a few questions to ask because I'm showing how we're familiar yet uniquely different, no matter of our background, where we're from, what our career is, and how we're all human. Okay, if you were to encourage the women of this generation, what would be your main focus?
Okay. The women of this generation, if I'm going to encourage you, I would say learn everything that used to be a man's world. Learn all of that and be as good as you can about that. And that is stuff like money, finances, you know, how to fix a car, how to
Yes.
hang something in the house, like stuff that I was not raised to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Now I get so frustrated when I have to find a friend to help me. So whether it's a guy or a girl, so I'm trying to encourage myself to learn certain things
Yeah.
like put up a shelf. I've put up a shelf by myself. I can do that kind of a thing. But
Well done.
but finances, that's something that the other day I was asking myself this, like why wasn't I taught what to do with money?
Right.
And it's very frustrating at the
Mm-hmm.
age that I'm at to even wonder what to do with it,
Right.
right? Because I was taught work hard and save. And I don't know if it's a women thing or a cultural thing because
Yeah.
I'm Puerto Rican. But I wasn't taught what to do with money. I was just taught work hard and save.
Right.
And then now, if I want financial advice, I go to a financial advisor, which is almost always a man. And that's very frustrating.
Right.
So, the things that used to be a man's world, I would say if you're a woman in today's generation, learn how to do that stuff and take care of it. Because I
That's
would love to spin the narrative so that we don't think of only men when we think of certain things like
yeah.
fixing a car or putting, assembling something in the house or, how to invest your money.
Right. That you make some valid points, Gloria, actually.
I know. Years ago, I tried to build something in the house. I
Uh-huh.
think it was something simple. Oh, I wanted to change my shower head, which I ended up doing on my own. It was actually rather easy,
yeah.
but I didn't think it would be. So I like called some people that I know, and I think I called 3 guys that I know, and
Right.
all of them said, "Well, I'm kind of handy. What do you need?" And I said, well, I just need to change the shower head. And they go, I don't know, I've never done that before, but I could try to figure it out. And that response just made me go, why am I calling on other people to help me when I could probably just figure it out myself?
See, you
Right?
do.
It was fine.
I think we're programmed to do that, though. Maybe. You know,
Ask for
they
help
get
or
they
to
get,
seek a man's help.
seek a man's help. Yeah, I was raised that way too. Anything physical like that, seek the man's help. yeah. So it's
Now, I wonder, because I've never ever sought a man's help as a form of flirting,
mm,
like pretending I didn't know how to do something. I've never done
no,
that.
that's
I've just honestly never
manipulation.
known how to do it.
Right. Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm sure maybe people do that, but no, I wouldn't. I'd be like,
No.
I really need your help, or I just don't.
I figured if I'm gonna flirt, I might as well just do it differently and stop pretending I need help around the house. I don't know. I don't really know how to
Fantastic.
flirt, to be honest,
I
anyway. Well, I believe in honesty, and I feel that it shouldn't be my responsibility to guess if
right.
someone's interested. I feel like they should just be honest and say it because either way, if it goes their way or not, they
Right.
know the answer. And then there's no games, and we both know where we stand, but there's not that many direct people out there. So
right.
usually the flirting game goes on, and I just think, oh, they're just being funny. And I was just watching a YouTube video where the guy said, if a man doesn't have what it takes to take the initiative to even ask you out, what makes you think that man will ever be husband material?
Oh,
And I thought that was a really good point. And
yeah.
so I'm starting to sit back a little bit to see, if you don't have what it takes to ask me out, I'm not doing the heavy lifting.
Right.
I've done that for a long time and I'm still single. So I'm like, no, maybe it is true what they say that men like the chase.
They do.
Okay, chase.
It doesn't matter how much you hear it, it's still horrible to hear, right? Even though you get used to it, it's still like, any form
You
of
know, it
rejection.
is sad to hear when you really wanted a job, when you really wanted
Yeah,
it, but you do get over it pretty quickly
right.
because because sometimes I'll audition for something and I don't book it, and then the next day I have another audition,
Yes.
and now my focus is on that new audition, not on
So
the one I did yesterday.
that's awesome. I know you audition a lot, all of you out there. Now the industry's opening back up again, that you've all got more auditions and work to do, which is fantastic. And yeah, and what's not meant to be won't be, and what's meant to be will be. So you might turn down one role, might not get one role, but the one that you do get is the one that was perfect for you.
I'd like to think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's always they say when one door closes, another door opens. I think it really is just about keeping the mindset of I will book, I will get what I want. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of effort as
Hmm.
well. Um, you do have to put in some hard work, but I also believe that you shouldn't be like working upstream for everything you want in life. Some
Hmm.
things should feel easy.
Right.
So, but that doesn't mean like sit on your laurels and do nothing.
Right. No.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to work, I definitely believe in working hard. But as far as dating, yeah, like if someone is scared of rejection, then they're never gonna try,
Yeah, they have to
and that's
try.
just not an excuse.
And go with your instincts. If it feels right, go with it.
There you go. I like that. That's good. Go with
Yeah.
your instinct. That's right. There's been a few times in my life I've not followed my instinct, and then I get so annoyed with myself because
Mm-hmm.
surely something will happen
Yeah.
that doesn't work out. And I think, God, I did have the inkling. Why didn't I follow it? So I'm trying to always follow my instinct. It is not easy because sometimes the mind takes over.
Right. I think if you maintain who you are with your truth and integrity, and you have boundaries, and if people respect you, they will trust them boundaries and not walk over them. And then in relationships, in all kinds of relationships, if you set boundaries and people respect them, you have a longer term relationship with people, whether it's friends, dating, whoever. Like, just,
Yeah, you
yeah.
bring up a good point about boundaries. I feel like I too was never taught about that. So I just kind of figured it out in life.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? I know I came from a generation of be polite, don't
Yeah.
talk back. But that I don't really think that that's the way to go. It's not about being impolite, but it is about asking for what you need and
Right.
learning how to ask for it in a way that communicates your thoughts without insulting anyone or offending anyone, but also protecting number one, which is
Yeah.
you, right? So
Yeah.
I've gotten a little bit better about that, especially recently with my business. I've had to declare some boundaries
Mm-hmm.
and choose the right words so that the person understands, they don't feel attacked.
Right.
And so far it's been working out.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, gosh, that's so great that it's been working out because I put it out there about like what I needed, how I wanted it, and it was accepted, but it was this mutual understanding. It
Right.
wasn't an attack. Yeah, so how you do it really matters.
It does. If you change
Yeah.
from you make me feel to I feel this way because, it's a huge difference if you change the way you speak. You're allowed to speak up and say what you feel, and you've got the respectability of I'm going to say it a certain way so I don't offend anyone. There's nothing wrong with that. That's called class.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah,
class.
and it's interesting because no one teaches a class on this, right?
No.
And you just learn throughout life. So you learn by making your mistakes.
Yes. And I think, and at my age, I've made a lot of them.
And that's okay, because you're gonna live for a long time. So by the time you get to like your 80s or 90s, you would have figured it out.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to always learn. I hope I haven't figured it out. I'd like to still leave this earth, still learning or wanting to learn something.
Well, that's what they say, that we're always learning. I'm
Right.
still learning. I'm still making mistakes and learning.
You
But I
know,
think that's the key. Learn from the mistakes.
yes.
Yeah, instead of
I, d-
repeating them all the
I
time.
don't think so much as it's always age. I just think it's experience, what you've experienced in life.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's a good point.
don't let anyone manipulate you because you're young, because it's got nothing to do with how young you are. I mean, it does. Your perspective changes as you get older, and I wish I knew then what I know now, and that's a very true statement which I will live by. My grandma used to tell it to me, and I used to get, "What is she talking about?" And now I know. But it's experience, and it's not what happens to us, but how we respond to it. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I'm still learning that.
what inspired you into this career? Where was the key point where you thought, this is what I want to do?
Hmm. It it came very young. When I was very young, I would say around 4,
Ah.
I really enjoyed making people feel something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would do that through entertainment, but I really didn't decide to do it through entertainment until I was about 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
So between 4 and 17, I just thought, well, I'll just help people through medicine. So I thought
Ah.
I'll be a doctor. Either veterinarian or pediatrician.
Yeah.
But honestly, when it came time to choose what I wanted to study at university, that's when I chose acting. I thought, well, a doctor makes people feel good. I
Mm-hmm.
could do the same thing through my art.
Right.
So that's really what when I chose it was around 17 or 18 and why I chose it.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to go to university and learn the art of acting because I needed a little extra confidence.
Yeah.
I knew I could do it, but I also felt like I was just playing and I didn't quite have any parameters.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt very lost.
Oh.
They say that we all do need rules because we feel safe with rules.
Right.
And I felt safe knowing what was expected of me in this industry and how I could contribute to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college and learned how to act, and then and then
Right.
actually did it. Because a lot of people study acting,
Mm-hmm.
but the business of acting isn't really taught. They teach
Right.
you the craft. So when you graduate, you still feel lost. How do I
Right.
get a job? What do I do? I don't have a team of support, and then people give up. And
Oh.
it's very attractive to take a job that pays you money, gives you some security,
Right.
gives you some health insurance. And when you have that, there's almost no desire to go back for something unstable. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I just decided to jump in, and it's best to do that when you're young because you have nothing to lose. I didn't have any bills. My parents were happy to let me stay with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just graduated college and just jumped into auditioning, and I auditioned for everything,
Right.
anything, commercials, TV and film, theater, anything I could, musicals. And then I would just see who cast me.
Right.
And I was getting cast more and more in non-musical things. And I thought, okay, perfect, because that way I can stop wasting time learning new music and going to dance class. I'll just do straight theater.
Right.
Um, and once I found my niche in like straight theater, I decided to do singing and dancing for fun, not necessarily for
Right.
work, just for fun. So I actually still continue to sing and dance just for fun, but my money comes from straight acting.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
and it's such a pleasure to know that I chose to take the path of non-musical theater life because
Mm-hmm.
it worked out for me,
Yeah.
and I don't have this longing to go back to musical theater. I know
Yeah.
that I enjoy it. I can watch it. I can sing and dance in my home or take dance classes. But when it comes to what art I want to put out there, I'm so happy that it's just words.
Business.
I can just
That's
do words. I don't need to sing and dance.
So, what advice would you give someone, um, if you can place this person where you were when you were just leaving college, and you said they teach you the craft, but they don't teach you the business side of it, the finances of where to go, what to do, and how would you advise them to overcome that or to guide them with that?
I would empower them to learn it on their own. So there are places where you can study it,
Hmm.
or you could just research it on your own.
Right.
For example, my senior year, I was given one class, just one, and it lasted one semester. So that's about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
One class about the business of acting. And it was things like know where the center of auditions are in your neighborhood, your
Okay.
town, your city. Know how to get there so that when you get a last minute notification for an
Hmm.
audition, you're not scrambling on how to even commute to this place.
Right.
Have a bag packed with the things that you will most likely need for an audition:
Hmm.
shoes, outfit, sheet music if you're singing, whatever the case is, be prepared. But that one class was enough to plant the seed so that I could start the spiral of research after that.
Right.
So I would just go to websites. I would go to the Screen Actors Guild website, even though I wasn't a union member, just because I wanted to learn about it before I was a member,
Yeah.
so that it didn't feel so foreign. Same
Okay.
thing with the theater union, which is called Equity.
Hmm.
And also, I watched tons of interviews with actors just to feel how they were human and they weren't above me in any way.
Right.
I just felt empowered. So
Hmm.
I would say, even though no one's teaching you, it's funny how we're tying conversations together, because we were just saying how no one taught us
Right.
how to build things or where to invest money, right? These are things I'm figuring out, but I'm figuring them out because I want to.
Right.
So, same thing, if you weren't taught the business of acting, you've got to figure out where you're going to learn it, but you have to learn it. So, learn it on your own, even though someone else hasn't taught you.
Yes. That's
Because
awesome.
I felt empowered once I knew,
Hmm.
oh, how to make a resume, how to make a demo reel, um, how to follow up with an audition, how
Right.
to properly prepare for this genre versus that genre. I just
Hmm.
felt empowered. So I think not knowing is not an excuse. There's
Right.
ways, especially now, there's no excuse to not figure out how to do something now.
Right. With the internet. Yeah.
And then the other advice I would give is, it's okay to say no to things.
Hmm.
You have to be true to who you are. Like, I knew that I loved to sing and dance, but I really loved and found pleasure in straight acting. And
Hmm.
I was okay saying no to those things.
Right.
Whereas I was constantly being told by others, learn everything. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad I learned everything, but that doesn't mean do everything always. I think you'd
Right.
go crazy. It's
Yeah.
okay to narrow things down and choose to just do a few things.
Got you. So it's okay to say no. Courage is
Yep.
contagious as well. Courage. It
Yep.
takes courage. A lot
Absolutely.
of people don't do things because of lack of courage, and that's just a human part of us.
The other thing I've learned is no is not no always.
Right.
It's just no now,
Ah, there you go. That's good
right?
advice.
So
See?
if I'm getting a no from a specific casting department,
Hmm.
it's for this project. That
Right.
doesn't mean tomorrow there won't be an audition from that same department for a different show, and that could be a yes.
See? Great
Yeah.
advice. Great advice. How has music influenced your life?
Well, so music opened up my eyes to what else I could do.
Hmm.
When I was about 12, I think, I realized that many of my friends had after school extracurricular activities and I didn't. And I'm sure it had to do with finances, right? I'm sure there
Hmm.
was no money in the budget to put me in
Yeah.
something. But I thought to myself, it feels like not being in something after school feels wrong.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can find something affordable that my
Right.
parents can afford that I can do. And it turned out to be piano lessons. And piano lessons just gave me a new focus,
Right.
something to distract me from the anxieties of school, whatever was going on in school.
Hmm.
And it just opened my eyes to, wow, I can do something else. I have the
Right.
ability to learn and do something else. And then I continued piano in college just a bit, but I decided to stop it because it was so time consuming. And again, I knew I wanted to be an actress.
Yeah.
But music is encouraging, it's uplifting. So even though I stopped playing piano, I learned that playing music in the morning really helps to not just wake me up, because I feel like I can wake up with a cup of coffee, with a little yoga, with a little meditation, but to make me excited for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how music has helped me, because I'll put it on to change the mood.
Right.
And it's such a small thing that we can all do, change the
Absolutely.
mood.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to learn that just because I'm in a bad mood doesn't mean I'm a victim to that mood all day. I can
Right.
control the changing of the mood. And if I don't know how to do it, honestly, putting on a song could be the
Change.
thing I need.
Oh,
Yes, especially through music, because you can
yeah.
share that conversation with someone. Do you like the song?
Mm-hmm.
Play the music in the background while you're having a conversation, while you're having dinner. Obviously, some songs some people can't not move to. I mean, there's plenty of people like that don't need to move to music, but most people
Right.
do. So then all of a sudden your body's into it, and then your emotions are into it. So yeah, absolutely. I'm not a musician anymore. I just used to play piano, but I don't play it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know anyone that doesn't like music. I like different genres of music. And for me,
Yeah.
it's really an ambiance thing
Mm-hmm.
and a mood changer.
That's awesome, and it is. It's very therapeutic.
I was listening to a song today from the 80s, and I thought, gosh, that artist made that one song and they're going to make money for the rest of their life. One song secured them financially. And I
Right.
just thought, that's so great. If you have the power to make music, you just create one thing and it could really set you up.
Do you remember the name of the band?
Yeah, I think it was Foreigner. I want to know what love
Love
is.
is.
And I thought, I mean, I don't know any other songs from Foreigner. They might have a bunch of other hits, but
They do.
I just thought, God, that one song, it doesn't go away.
I know, right? It is. I love that song actually. So, and I grew up in the 80s, so yeah, that was my genre. And I love the
Yep.
80s. Great music came from the 80s. Great music.
I like the 80s too. There was
Yeah.
pop, there was rock,
Hmm.
there was electric,
Yes.
right?
No
That's when
static.
hip hop started.
Hmm. Yes.
Oh, it's a good time.
We used to be in the discotheques, they were called.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The
So,
evolution of music. Oh,
out of all the charities that are out there, which one would you choose to advocate for and why?
I love animals. And there's an organization called globalgiving.org. So you pick an animal and you help fund it, essentially. So right
Ah,
now I'm contributing to this tiger. um,
ah,
I think I give, well, you give whenever you want. You can set a recurring payment and you can just give every now and then. But there are certain animals that are poached for
yeah,
the medicinal qualities that their bodies possess, like tigers. And then there are
elephants.
just some animals that people don't care about,
Yeah,
because out of sight, out of mind. So, you don't see them, you don't think about them. But for example, sea life. Sea life is
right.
really suffering, and it's a man-made problem,
Yes,
because of
all
all
the
the
junk.
chemicals we're dumping
Yeah.
in the ocean, and then of course plastics. And my heart really breaks. I just wonder, was I an animal in another life? Like, where did this come from? But my heart really breaks when I think about animals that can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And if there weren't organizations out there to help clean their environment or to help them when they're hurt, they
Hmm.
would just die out.
Right.
So,
And we need
because
them. They're essential to the earth. People don't realize that, like bees. They don't realize how essential they actually are. It's all an ecosystem, and
right,
they're just as essential as we are.
that's right. And we don't often think about how important a shrimp is, or algae, but if you start to look into it, you realize how every living creature has to feed on another living creature. But if down at the bottom the living creatures are gone, then the ones at the top are going to starve.
Right.
So, if we want to eat and have food on our plates, like for those of us that do eat meat and fish, I do eat meat and fish, and sometimes I feel guilty about it, but I do try to make smart choices. I try to buy organic. I also try to thank my food when I
Mm-hmm.
sit down to eat it, and I also try not to eat meat very often. Um,
Right.
so I make my own choices as everyone should, but I do try to be
Mm.
grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the
Yeah.
animal that has given up its life, or that not all of them offer their lives, right? They're slaughtered or taken, but I
Right.
just try to say thank you. But as far as like charities, Global Giving Global is one of the charities that I believe in because they help try to protect animals that are endangered. And then Free the Slaves is another one.
What's that
And
one?
Free the Slaves is not animal related. Now we're talking about humans. So it's really about raising global awareness to the slave issue, and it's not just work slaves, like people that are forced to work,
Mm-hmm.
but also sex slaves,
Mm-hmm.
human
Yeah.
trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
What this organization does is brings awareness. Also, there's rehab centers throughout the world where women can go to get refuge, and then they learn skills so they can figure out how they can make a livelihood from themselves when they've escaped the danger they were in.
Yeah.
So I like to mention these names because I don't think enough people know that these
No.
places exist.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I just hear these stories, horror stories of people are being forced to work in restaurants and they're behind the scenes so
Mm-hmm.
customers don't even know that someone back there is being forced to work and
Right.
being threatened with the fear of being deported,
Yeah.
or killed, or whatever the threat may be, and they're just forced to be there. So
Yeah. That's disgusting, but yeah.
yeah, so these things happen, not there's a lot of evil people in the world,
There is.
and there's a lot of despicable acts that happen, but there are organizations that are trying to right some wrongs.
Yeah.
So honestly, things work better if there's money to fund these programs.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much because if a lot of people give just a little bit,
Yes.
then there's plenty of
Makes.
money.
Yeah.
And there's so many charitable places that you might want to consider. Like right now, Haiti really needs our help. They're just in pain right now.
Yeah.
They need a rescue mission. And so I know Sean Penn actually has a company that has been giving, and they need money because they need to get medical supplies, they need
Mm-hmm.
to get heavy equipment out there. They need resources.
Right.
So if everyone could just give $5 or $10, it
Right.
all really adds up and it
It
really
does.
helps.
It does. Things don't get fixed overnight. They take months, sometimes years.
Especially when just as they're getting better, they're hit by another storm.
Right.
It's like they keep getting knocked down and they
Mm.
never quite get up on their feet.
But it's not like they can get the country and move it somewhere else out of the line of fire. They just can't. You know, they're
Yeah.
stuck. They're stuck there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you brought them three up. Is there any other charities you'd like to bring up?
There's an animal one I want to think of. I follow them on Instagram. It's in Israel because I went to a fundraiser for this event, which is how I found out about it. And the woman that started because she's a vet. And apparently in Israel, kids will throw stones at dogs on the street because they're
Oh,
seen as pests. And so a lot of dogs are abused. And so
oh,
some people who have a heart will bring them into the vet center to get them rehabilitated, but there's not enough of her. There's not enough
right.
staff. There's not enough techs. There's not enough supplies or space to take them all in. And if they take them in, what are they supposed to do with them after? Put them back out on the street to get restoned. So they're just trying to bring awareness to the fact that there are many countries in this world that people do not value animal life.
I know. How do you feel about what has transpired since COVID-19? And do you ever see us returning to a normality?
Yes, I do see us returning to normal. I just think it will be a new normal, but we'll accept whatever that is. We've already begun accepting certain things. Um, like more people are more conscious of hygiene and washing their hands a little more often,
Yeah.
sanitizing, that kind of a thing, disinfecting. Um, keeping some distance, maybe not shaking everyone's hand, maybe a fist bump,
Right.
um, giving a little more space to strangers. But about the events that have transpired, it's been really weird and interesting. So interesting in the sense that I actually benefited from the pandemic because I learned to slow down a little bit. I
Yeah.
learned to calm down a little bit. I learned that I can still get things done and find time to relax a little bit.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
was nice. I was forced to do that, when there was nowhere to go. I was kind of just forced to sit still for a little while, do some reflection. It
Mhm.
also forced me to think about what else do I want to do in my life. So, I teach as well as being an actress. I teach acting, and I got inspired to take my teaching to a different level. Um, I I'm actually in the midst of creating a video series right now for actors, which I'm
Oh.
really excited about. I'm not ready to officially announce it, so this is not an official announcement, but it is a
Okay.
work in progress.
Mhm.
I'm going to be making these videos for people who want to learn acting, but perhaps they don't want to do it in front of a group of strangers in a group acting class,
Mhm.
or maybe they feel uncomfortable with a one-on-one situation with a private coach. So I
Right.
think the videos and learning from the comfort of their home will be fun and exciting for anyone who's been interested in acting. So I'm doing these videos and I'm almost done. It's almost ready to launch on my website. So that
Oh.
inspiration came from my time off during COVID. So
Right.
also, I started to take care of my home more because I was here more.
Yeah.
So I thought, might as well make my home everything I always wanted it to be. It was always pretty cozy and always neat and tidy,
Yeah.
but but I started just upgrading some things, replacing some things, and just making it even nicer. So now friends come over and they're like, "Oh, you've been changing things." I'm like, "I really have."
Oh.
I got some patio furniture. I'm trying to enjoy the outdoor part of my
Yes.
apartment a little more.
Yeah.
I put up some more decorations, that kind of a thing. But of course, on a political platform, things are so separated
Yes.
and
We divided.
heated.
Mhm.
Yes, and it's become a sore subject for many people,
Mhm.
whether or not to get vaccinated. I am vaccinated. I also am pro vaccination, but not
Mhm.
everyone feels that way. And I don't want to argue with my friends.
No.
I'll let them do whatever they want to do for themselves.
Yeah.
But it is just really sad because now unvaccinated people are not going to be allowed in a lot of activities because they're requesting your vac card, right?
I
Your vax
know.
card when you walk into restaurants or get on a plane. So it's just this topic that is very, very heated. I don't want to tell anyone what they can or can't do, should or
Right.
shouldn't do. I just know what's right for me.
Yes.
And I decided to do this for a few reasons. One was I want to keep working as an actress,
Mhm.
and the entertainment industry pretty much forced it, but I was fine with it
Mhm.
because when I was up in Canada earlier this year working on something, I quarantined for about 2 weeks, and those were two very lonely weeks.
Right.
I never stepped foot outside of the hotel door.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
I managed to do some FaceTimes and some Zooms with people, but not having that human interaction was really weird, really,
Yeah.
really weird.
Yeah.
And I would get picked up after the 2 week quarantine. I would get picked up by the production 3 times a week to get COVID tested, and that was the only time I saw humans until I was on set. And so I just thought, gosh, if I want to work again, it would just be
Yes.
helpful if we all get vaccinated because maybe we can kill this thing.
Right.
This is a very big deal,
It is.
right? And then you have
That's
people
why
that,
I asked the question. Yeah.
right? Then there are people that don't believe in it; they believe it's a hoax.
I know.
So
That's
who am I
ridiculous.
to? I don't want to have this conversation. I just want all this to be done. So I think part of the solution. I got vaccinated. I'm encouraging people to get vaccinated, and I'm also following the rules. I'm putting my mask on. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I haven't caught COVID, knock on wood.
Me neither.
I It's been over a year and a half and I've done everything that I've been asked to do and I've managed to not catch it. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm fine. So, and I want to not catch it, you know?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have said, oh, I caught it and I'm fine. Yeah, well, they were also sick for a little while, and I'm very healthy and I don't want to get sick.
No, no. So, yeah, especially not with that, because it can have long term effects, that we don't know about, with the organs and stuff. And I did that. I wanted to go and see my mom in England, and I don't want to get super sick of my age, so I decided to get vaccinated too. So I can
Good.
so I can travel when I want to, and I can meet people in the industry, and they say, "You vaccinated?" Yep, and then it'll be a lot easier. I don't have to go through the rigmarole of being restricted anywhere. So, and for health reasons, So I decided I'm getting vaccinated. I felt like, especially with the new variant. I did it before the new variant come out too. I knew it was coming because that's how viruses work. They mutate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel more free having gotten the vaccine because
Yeah.
last year from March through December, I did everything right. I stayed put. If I did go anywhere, it was a big open space. And I
Right.
thought, I don't want to do that again this year. If I
No.
can get vaccinated, I can move around a little more
Yeah.
freely.
Yeah.
And I did have a good summer. I went to the beach. I saw some
Yeah.
friends who were also vaccinated, and I had my hot girl summer, I think.
That's awesome.
Uh, I had fun, responsible fun, but I had fun. I haven't been to a concert yet. I missed
No.
that. The Hollywood Bowl is open,
Yeah.
and I really want to go. um, but yeah, we can still participate in certain things. Like yesterday, I went to LA's event, Dance Downtown.
Yes.
If you've not heard of this, you have to go. It's
I
free to the
haven't.
public, but it's a big open dance floor,
Yes.
and everyone's masked, and they of course ask you to keep some distance.
Yeah.
And you only dance with the people in your pod. So if you feel comfortable dancing with them, great. If you don't, then don't touch, right?
Yeah.
But that's that. And you're able to have a good time. The DJ's playing music. We're outside,
Nice.
under the stars and the moonlight. It's very romantic.
Beautiful. Yes, I'd love that.
So you can still have fun and stay safe.
That's awesome. So, is there any current projects that you would like to discuss, or any previous projects that you've had that you would like to discuss and share with the audience?
Okay, so earlier this year, I filmed something called Made, MAID, and it's based on a book. It's actually a New York Times bestseller. And it was just, well, always it's great to work, but it was particularly great to work while we were still in the height of the pandemic. This was before the vaccines came out when I was filming this. I went up to Canada to film it. I was there for 6 weeks. And when I came back, the vaccine rollout had begun here. So all that transpired so quickly. But yes, back to the project. It's a limited mini series, which means there won't be a season 2. Since it's based on a book, they filmed what they needed to film. There won't be a revival of any sort.
Okay.
There are 10 episodes. It's a Netflix project. From what I hear through the grapevine, it will be out this fall, but that's not official. I'm just hearing rumors from people.
Right.
Yes, so I'm in episode 9. So once that drops, people could check me out on that.
Absolutely.
Very great project. It's about female empowerment. A particular young lady goes through domestic violence and decides to leave the situation. It's very hard to leave, but she makes a life for herself by being a maid. And the money from being a maid allows her to go to college. And she's an adult already when she's doing this.
Yes.
So she's doing it a little later than others, but she manages to make her life work. And it's based on a true story, actually.
Oh.
So that's what that project is. And then a few years ago, I filmed something called Reckoning, and it's on Netflix still. So it came out in 2019 on Netflix. I actually thought it was going to be taken off Netflix, but it is still on Netflix. It is 10 episodes. It's a serial killer genre, so it's not for everybody. So I'm warning people now. It's very bloody. But I play a detective on that. Oh, and then I forgot to say in Maid, I play a mom of four. I'm not even a
Oh
mom in real
wow.
life, but in this, I
Oh
have
no.
four kids. Mom of four, three with one on the way. Anyway, so yeah, I've managed to play different things in my life. I don't know if you know, I was on Grey's Anatomy for a little while. I played a
Yes, I
doctor
saw
on
that
that.
on IMDb.
Oh, okay, yay. So that's people still see me on that because that's in syndication.
Mhm.
I'm also on How to Get Away with Murder, and so that episodes are still airing for that, so people recognize me from that. But as far as new projects, Reckoning,
Mhm.
Made. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention one. So this one's called Four Good Days. It's a
Okay.
movie that stars Mila Kunis and Glenn Close,
Ooh.
and it's a it's a really beautiful movie. It's super sad.
Yeah.
It's about it's about drug addiction
Mhm.
and the trap that drug addicts get in, even though they want to get better. It is so hard because your
Yeah.
body's addicted, and specifically how drug addiction affects the family.
Right.
So Mila Kunis plays a young lady who's a drug addict, and she's trying to get better, but every time she thinks she's going to do it, she gets sucked
Relapses.
back into the world of drugs. And Glenn Close plays her mom, and
Oh.
you see how she struggles, she cries, she really wants to help her daughter, but it's hard. And I
Yeah.
play the receptionist at the rehab center, so I'm in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Do not blink. No, I actually have a substantial scene. I forgot how much I filmed until I saw the movie, and I thought, oh, you can't
Yeah.
miss me. I'm in a good chunk of it. It's just in the
Yes.
beginning.
Yes.
So yeah, so that came out just in April of this year.
That sounds a really good movie.
And I think it's streaming right now,
Mhm.
actually, because I went to see it in the theaters. It had limited distribution, and it was my first movie experience after the pandemic.
Oh.
So I got to see myself on screen. That was really cool.
Yeah. How did that make you
Yeah.
feel watching yourself?
Honestly, it filled me up with it refueled me is what I'm trying to say. It
Yeah.
refueled me because during the pandemic, everything shut down for a few months in the entertainment industry, so
Yeah.
there was no work to be had. And I wasn't scared because I thought, okay, we'll come back to things eventually. But when things came back, it took a while for any productions to start up again because of course the union had to figure out COVID protocols.
Yeah.
And once that did get figured out, it was so expensive for productions to afford it because
Right.
you just have to have COVID officers, you have to have hand sanitizing stations, you have to have a plan in place that has to be approved by the union in regards to traffic and how it travels on set. You have to have personal protection equipment for people. You have to have insurance for that, and a lot of producers just couldn't afford to do a
Right.
production because of COVID. So when things did come back, not everything came back. It was very
Right.
slow going.
Yeah.
Things are still starting to come back, but the industry has really changed. For example, auditions are not really in person anymore. I haven't had a single in-person audition. I've only had
Video.
Zoom,
Hmm.
online live auditions, and I've also had the possibility to tape myself and submit it, self tapes.
Yeah.
Yep. So in a way, that's good because you eliminate traffic and commuting.
I know. I've spoke to a few people in the industry that said, and one was a parent, and she said she hopes they continue to do that because you send your auditions in, you get the email that your audition is coming in, and then you do your own recording of the and editing of your audition, and then email it in, and that's your audition, and you don't
I
have to go
know.
any don't have to go anywhere. You're in your own home. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's
maybe
definitely
they can keep that in, doing that
I
option.
wouldn't mind that. I do think though, because I'm a veteran now in this industry, but when it comes to newcomers, they are missing the element of direction.
Got you.
So
Yeah.
as a performer, one of the things you learn to do is to calm the nervous system when
Mm.
you're performing live in front of a stranger or strangers,
Right.
right? But
Yeah.
if you don't have that ability, if you're constantly performing from the comfort of your own bedroom with
Right.
your mom, your husband, or your neighbor reading the other lines, you're too cozy.
Yeah.
So we as artists do need to kind of have things shaken up a bit.
Right.
Because when we do land a job, we're on set with a crew of 100 or so,
Right.
and we're recreating a sense of privacy in a very non-private format.
Setting. Yeah.
So there are some benefits of going in live. Plus, you get the benefit of being redirected in the room. Perhaps what you did wasn't quite right, but they can tweak you in the room.
Yeah.
So you don't get that when you're recording at home. The
Yeah.
other thing is when not everyone has the work ethic that I have. Like I try to only do 2 or 3 takes and then I am done because I expect a high standard of myself. But a lot of people are doing 10, 15, 20 takes, whatever it takes to get the take right. You're
Right.
not ever going to have that on
No.
set. So you're creating a false sense of perfection.
Right.
Yeah. So there are some benefits and some drawbacks because being an artist, you do need an audience.
Mhm.
You can't perform in your apartment forever and call it an art. You've got to
Yeah.
get in front of an audience.
Yeah. It's like doing
So
what
it
I
really,
do.
COVID has really changed the industry.
It has.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, hopefully it will slowly come back. And giving people the option to go back in or stay at home. Or do both maybe. But it shows how the industry was affected too. Season 2. People have shown me how the changes happened in the industry. So it happened to everybody. It didn't just happen to a few. It happened to all. Everyone
Yeah,
had to change. Everybody.
that's right.
So unity is important because it affected every single person. Yeah. So I'm glad though. I'm glad things are getting back and you can get out there and audition on
Yes.
stage or auditioning in front of a casting crew or whatever.
I was on stage last weekend.
Was you?
I have not been on stage in so long, but someone asked me to participate in a staged reading.
Mhm.
So a staged reading is really for the benefit of the writer to hear their words out loud. But when you do a staged reading, it's a bit more of a production than something like a table read.
Right.
So you're standing, you're in costume, your hair and makeup's done, you're well lit.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the script in front of them. You've rehearsed a little bit.
Mhm.
There's sometimes an audience. In this case, there was. And it was just so great. I mean, this was just about a week ago, and I'm still feeling the happiness that came from being
Oh,
on
the
stage.
atmosphere. Yeah.
And it reminded me how much I miss theater because I've done TV and film for so long now and let theater kind of be on the back burner and just being on stage was such a good feeling because you're
Oh.
performing live. There's no redo.
Yeah.
You go from the word action or from lights up, you go and you don't stop till the thing's done.
Right. So the
you know,
curtain's drawn. Yeah.
exactly. And it's fun. It's fun. I'm so glad I got to do that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Gloria, if the audience and viewers want to be able to get hold of you on social media or via email, would you like to share your contact information with them?
Yes. Yes. So if people want to get in contact with me, whether it's just
Awesome.
to say hello, because I'm an actress and they've seen me on TV, or because they want me to be their teacher, since I do teach acting, drop me a note. You can do it through Instagram. So my handle is at Gloria, and my last name is Garayua. It's pronounced Garayua. So it's at Gloria Garayua on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I just logged back into my Twitter account yesterday. I stopped tweeting, but I decided to get back on. I'm not on Snapchat, although I feel like I should be. Maybe I'll start an account there. And also, if people want to email me, I'm okay with that. So it's my first name, last name at gmail.com. And if someone is interested in classes, I would need them to specifically say that so I know how to best respond to what it is they're reaching out for. So yeah, so
Absolutely.
Gloria Garayua pretty much everywhere.
Okay, and I will be putting that on the top of the screen.
My website is also gloriagarayua.com. So gloriagarayua.com, and under the coaching tab, there'll be a place where they'll see the option to buy the video series. So it
That's
should be
awesome.
out very soon. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So go to that website, gloriagarayua.com,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you can purchase, you can view and purchase Gloria's videos on that website, and follow her on
Yes.
Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and hit like. So,
Yes.
Gloria's a very lovely lady. Thank you very much, Gloria, for coming on Chatbox with Sam. It's been an honour and a pleasure to talk with you today, and I know the viewers are going to love this interview. You brought out some very inspiring thoughts, which I know that people can absorb and take with them. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Sam. It's been a fun experience talking to you. You're so lovely and sweet. And thank you for doing this chat box. This is cool. People need to hear this.